Now for global business updates, Bosin Omofaye joins us. Good morning, Roach.
I understand. I got his name on the back of this seat and my name at the front. So we're just going to turn the seat around.
Good morning.
Good morning. I like the gold style. It's called gold standards.
Gold standard.
You notice that?
100 million naira standard.
Gold.
Income standard. Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
But let's look at price, by the way. Oil prices slid $2 in early Asian trade today. OPEC lowered its outlook for global oil demand for this year and next. And a media report that Israel is willing to strike Iranian military and not nuclear or oil targets. Brent crude was down 2.82%, at $74.64 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate fell 3.68% to $71.11 per barrel as of 6:49 GMT. Both benchmarks are settled about 2% lower on Monday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the U.S. that Israel is willing to strike Iranian military targets and not nuclear or oil facilities, according to that report. Now, what was the third straight downward revision? OPEC on Monday dropped its prognosis for the increase of world oil demand this year based on data gathered so far in the year and also lowered its projection for 2025. The downgraded forecast underscores the predicament that OPEC Plus, which is made up of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and allies like Russia, is prepared to begin increasing production in December after postponing the increase in the face of declining prices. In stock market, Asia Pacifics were mixed Tuesday following gains on Wall Street as saw the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 reach new record highs. South Korea's Kospi was hovering near the flat line. Mainland China's CSI 300 was down 0.5%, clawing back after falling more than 1% earlier in the day. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 1.3%. The Japan's Nikkei 225 was up 1.3%. And in corporate news, as Wall Street prepares for earnings season, and updates from all of the chip makers' biggest clients regarding their anticipated investment on artificial intelligence infrastructure, Nvidia's stock ended at a record on Monday. The stock closed at $138.07, up 2.4% from its previous peak of $135.58 on June the 18th. The shares have increased more than 9 times since the start of 2023 and are currently up about 180% since the year started. The largest beneficiary of the generative AI boom, which began with the public launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November of 2022, has been Nvidia, which is commonly seen as the business supplying the picks and shovels for the AI gold rush. In economic news, the World Bank announced on Monday that it has reduced its 2024 economic growth prediction for sub-Saharan Africa from 3.4% to 3%, mostly because of the civil war-related economic devastation in Sudan. According to the bank's most recent regional economic outlook report, which is Africa Pulse, growth is anticipated to stay comfortably above 2.4% from the previous year due to increased private investment and consumption. The report's growth forecast for 2025 was 3.9% higher than its earlier estimate of 3.8%. And back in corporate news, Transcorp Power PLC, one of the power subsidiaries of Transcorp Group, has announced its financial results for the third quarter ended September, demonstrating remarkable growth across the business. In its third quarter, audited result filed with the Nigerian Exchange, Transcorp Power reported a revenue of 223.6 billion naira. That's a significant 153% growth year-on-year and over 88.4% billion naira in the third quarter ended September. Highlighting operational efficiency, profit before tax for the period surged 198%, posting 81.1 billion naira compared to 27.3 billion naira in the same period of 2023. Amelia Kyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, disclosed that fuel smugglers in nearby countries made almost 17 million naira each truck by taking advantage of subsidy gaps. Kyari revealed this information while speaking to reporters about the government's attempts to deregulate the oil and gas industry. Because of the fuel subsidy, he claimed that cross-border smuggling was on the rise, with a 6,000-litre truck bringing in at least 17 million naira for smugglers each time. And that's what you call a smuggler's paradise.
Is that not an indictment on the NNPC themselves?
Here we go.
Is that not an indictment on... I'm even shocked Mele Kyari had the temerity to even say that.
But it's been said before, several times, that neighboring countries, the smugglers make us...
hang on a minute. So our subsidized oil,
yes,
because you couldn't set machinery in place to be able to track them, They smuggle them, they go after over the border. They are telling you they make 17 million, where you are supposed to be able to stop them. When you are supposed to be able to track a flow channel of when they take your subsidized fuel from the border, and you track them and you stop them. Is that not the indictment on him? So is he now using that to say to us? You see, that's what I kept saying about the corruption in the NPC. If the corruption in the NPC, the fact that the 4 trillion that they spent on mobile refineries, the other 1.something trillion that they spent on production, if those things were put in place, we could have even still subsidized even further for the people because of the hardship. But you see, there's too much corruption, and you have the temerity to tell us to our faces that they were actually smuggling, when you are also supposed to keep the checks and balances in place. Once you discover the trucks that were going across the border, did you sanction them that they would never lift oil again? What efforts did you put in to mitigate? So you are telling us what you ought to have done, and you say we should clap for you? You see, that's part of the corruption that went on, and the NMPC knew about it. And it was obvious, and they didn't nip it in the bud.
Well, let me talk about taxes this morning, especially because I joked about the 25% tax. I don't know what you think about this, but because I've raised this a number of times with regards to the Joint Tax Committee headed by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, who again explained his tax position yesterday at the ongoing NESG, and then talked about this 25% tax on individuals earning 100 million naira and above monthly.
Something like a luxury tax.
Luxury tax. And I once described his tax direction almost as the Robin Hood tax, whereby tax the rich in order to fund and tax less the poor. And maybe that's what Nigeria needs at this time. But I must say something here as well. When in other countries like the UK, where there's progressive tax, so the tax is based on incomes earned. So the higher your income, the higher taxes you pay. And that's why we see like people like footballers or people really high earners pay a higher percentage of tax. There are incentives by the government. And we've often had that conversation around, okay, if you want to tax businesses, you want to tax individuals who made money, to what extent did the government contribute to them making this money? And this is the conversation that has happened a lot. If people struggle, work hard against all odds to make profit and to earn really well, and then you come to tax the money which they made without a lot of involvement from the government, it becomes difficult, and it then becomes an incentive for people to avoid tax paying or to declare or under-declare their assets at the end of the day. Rachel Reeves just released yesterday about the government's plans to increase, that's in the UK, the government's plans to increase taxes on national insurance, not to the employee, but employers' contributions. But before that happened, they had secured multi-billion pound investment into the economy of Britain. So that's what I'm saying. If we're going to talk about taxes, increasing taxes, they're saying that the National Assembly is looking to increase VAT by 10%, then we must also see almost a commensurate effort by the government to enabling business environment and also enabling people to create wealth. If that isn't done, then there's almost no justification to begin to see an announcement of tax increases just for the sake of revenue generation. So I think it should be a holistic conversation. Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, that's his responsibility. He has done his job. But on the other side of the fiscal side, the government itself needs to demonstrate to the people just how much they are contributing to wealth creation, not just for businesses, but for individuals as well.
Okay, just start with the group CEO of NMPC Limited, Engineer Melekiare. First, condolences to him and his family. He recently lost his daughter, 25-year-old daughter, and I was shocked to see that he's back on the beat, making comments and has returned to work. But this is the lesson about Muslims. They say, well, everything is in the hands of God. I commend him for his courage, for his fortitude, and for getting back on the beat almost immediately. However, the point that he's making about smuggling, that we lose 17 billion naira, 17 million naira on a daily basis, well, the question to ask is, where is the state? We have security agencies, we have
DPR
institutions, the DPR, whatever, customs, and all that. Now, saying that smuggling is a problem is not an excuse that a responsible government should be giving year on year. Saying that smugglers, okay, are they saying that smugglers are more powerful than the state of Nigeria and that there's nothing that can be done about it? That's a wrong argument. The smugglers are threatening us. It is the job of the people who say they have the talent and the capacity to fix the state, to address it. However, that takes me immediately to the Nobel Prize in Economics that was announced yesterday, given to Simon Johnson, Darren Acemoglu, and Robinson. These are economists, right? Yes. And the Nobel Prize in Economics for this year is pushing the basic argument articulated by Darren Acemoglu and Robinson in a 2012 book titled Why Nations Fail: The Origins of Prosperity, Wealth, and Poverty. And the argument is that, look, 20% of the countries in the world, in the upper rank, they are 30 times better than the lower 20% of countries in the world. Why? They argue that this is the case because these countries do not pay attention to their institutions. If institutions fail, like INEC fails, like the police fails in Nigeria, then your country will be faced with issues of poverty. Acemoglu and Johnson, they teach at MIT. Robinson is at the University of Chicago. These are top universities that produce Nobel laureates in the world. And I think that the decision this year is well decided. They are going to get $1 million from the Central Bank of Sweden, which they will share among themselves. Today, we expect the third quarter report of earnings from Goldman Sachs. Yes. And that will be at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. But the expectation is that they will do well now that rates have been cut. So these are the issues. Asia is doing well. Semiconductor, NVIDIA is on top.
$3.4 trillion in market cap.
In market value. Second now to Apple. I may overtake Apple. Thank you very much.